Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is your start sit live stream, the questions that need answering, and I'm here to do it. It's me, Joe Pisapia. Of course, at noon, you can stick around, and you've got Kyle Yates coming up after me, but right now, it's me for the next hour, so I can't imagine you having questions. I mean, there hasn't been any injuries, there hasn't been any guys who aren't playing this week, right? I mean, it's been a really easy couple days here just to set lineups and forget it, right? Not so much? Oh, it's horrible? Oh, you're right. It is. It's a complete and utter train wreck this weekend, but we're going to do our best to try to get somebody in there healthy, and hopefully we can just be better than the team we're playing. That's it. That's the new standard this week. Can you be better than the team that you're playing? And hopefully that answer is yes, and hopefully I can help you towards that. In the meantime, I want to tell everybody today about a sponsor before we kick things off. Do you know that 85% of people who play daily fantasy sports lose? It's really that surprising. Believe me, the game is rigged against you. You're playing against thousands of other lineups, not to mention experts on top of which who have more tools and more time and more bankroll, but you don't have to stand a chance against these guys. You know you don't. Introducing the first ever daily fantasy sports book, Stat Hero. Stat Hero puts the player in control and winning within your reach. Here's how it works. Stat Hero shows you their lineup and dares you to beat them. It's you versus the house in a head-to-head fantasy matchup, and you name your stakes, winner take all. You have the advantage. Stat Hero is showing you their lineup ahead of time. No one else does that. You're in total control. Stat Hero DFS is the way to play and the way that DFS was meant to be played. So take advantage of it today. Stat Hero is that DFS service that you want to give yourself a try for the first time. Go to stathero.com, sign up for free, and use the promo code FantasyPros, when you do, on your first deposit to get 100% bonus match. What you have to lose? Nothing. Nothing. You have nothing to lose whatsoever. That's stathero.com. Promo code FantasyPros. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied this morning because there's just so many things going on, and just trying to make sure we get somebody out there in these lineups. So let's just get to your questions, and we'll come back to more amazing promos that we have lined up here as Chris, and we'll see what we get that meter at today. With the shaking of the head, last week we were at 8. I'm pretty sure we can get it to 9. We'll see what we can do. I'm counting on you guys to help me out there. So let's start here with Brett. Brett wants to know, which Tyler, Lockett or Boyd, half-point PPR? I can understand your conundrum here. Look, Tyler Boyd's probably a safe play of points, but I think Tyler Lockett can probably match those safe points. Give me Lockett here in this contest against the Steelers here. I don't feel great about Geno Smith, but my concern is that at this point, Tyler Boyd really is that third wheel. Higgins, well above him, I think, in the pecking order. Jamar Chase, I think, well above everybody, plus a healthier Joe Mixon in the full workload. I think that's what we want to get here. So give me Tyler Lockett. Greg is next here. Greg wants to know, y'all dropping Chris Carson? Look, if you have to drop Chris Carson right now for something else that can actually help you for more than even just this week, I think I would do it. I mean, this really depends on how deep your league is. I would much rather bench Chris Carson to see if the injury situation works itself out over time. But here's the thing. If we're talking about Chris Carson right now, long term, Russell Wilson's out for a few weeks. He's hurt. How much can Chris Carson really help you? I don't know. If there's something out there right now that can help you for today and get you a W for sure, or potentially help you for the next couple weeks, I would strongly consider that, because I don't think Chris Carson can be that guy for the next few weeks, especially with Russell Wilson's injury kind of compounding that fact. Let's talk to Liz here. McKissick or Harris? I'm going to guess it's Damian Harris here. That's just what I'm going to take a guess here. You know what? I'm going to go with Damian Harris against the Cowboys here. I know the fumble issues have been a problem here. One of the fumbles last week, though, was him stretching over the goal line. That's a tough one to really blame on him. He's doing his best to reach over the goal line. It was very close. The ball started to come loose. It got knocked out right at the head there. I would go back to Harris with the workload here. I know Antonio Gibson's dealing with that shin injury. I get that. But at the same time, I think you can't count on McKissick necessarily. Look, he certainly could have a good game. But at the same time, I'm going to try to go play for the value and for the volume, and that's going to be Harris here in this one. All right, let's go to the next one here. Let's go to Happy Dogs. Happy Dogs wants to know, good morning, Joey P. I traded Thielen and Mitchell for A.J. Brown. Do you think I overpaid? Thielen and Mitchell for A.J. Brown? No, I actually think this is pretty good. I think this is a win-win. A.J. Brown is the better talent. Theoretically, A.J. Brown should be the better fantasy player. How A.J. Brown will perform this week against the Buffalo Bills is anybody's guess, especially that secondary being so good, so physical. But at the same time, I would much rather have A.J. Brown, I think, long term. Eli Mitchell, Adam Thielen, two decent guys worth starting. But do they have the upside of A.J. Brown? No. So if you had the depth that you could deal Thielen and Eli Mitchell and bring in A.J. Brown, I think you did okay. I think that's exact kind of trade where everybody wins. Thielen is a good wide receiver, does not have the upside of A.J. Brown, but we haven't seen even the floor of A.J. Brown this year. So it would be very encouraging if we saw that this week. I don't know if we're going to see it Monday night, but we'll see if we can hopefully see it the next week to come. All right, let's go to the next one. Average Boss wants to know, do I take the risk and start Dalvin Cook even though he might not be the full workload guy? I think you have to start Dalvin Cook when Dalvin Cook is on the field. If you could somehow your team has not been affected by all these injuries and everything going on, and you could afford to sit somebody else, or if you have Madison too, I get why this is something to give you pause. But I do think that if Dalvin Cook is on the field good enough to play, you have to try. And I understand the frustration. He hasn't been on there. I've got Dalvin Cook and David Montgomery in a very important league of mine. It has been ugly. It's been horrible. I get it. But I think if Dalvin Cook is out there, you got to start him. Let's go to the next one. Never had it so good. Good morning, Joe. With news, Mike Williams may have a hurt knee. I'm not sure to start him, but I need two wide receivers from this lot. Pick two, please. Williams, Amari Cooper, or Kadarius Toney. It is really tough to sit Mike Williams. I mean, he has really earned that spot. Even with the injury, it is really difficult for me to sit him. I think with the other spot, you have an option here. Amari Cooper is kind of safe. I think that's kind of the way you would play it. Put Cooper and Williams together. Cooper is kind of a safe play here. He's got touchdown equity. It's a matchup against the Patriots. I play a lot of man. Cooper can certainly expose that a little bit. Kadarius Toney is the upside. So if you want to play Toney and Cooper together, I get it. But I think Cooper Williams is what I would probably lean towards just because Cooper gives you a little bit of floor. Toney could give you an incredible day today. Toney could be this guy that changes the complete landscape of fantasy, or he could be middling this week against a very tough Rams defense. I'm going to take my chances with Williams and Cooper, play my best guys, and hope that Toney plays good too. And everybody plays well, and we can move along, and everyone's happy going forward because we have options. Options are great. Let's go with the next one here. Let's go to Miguel. Claypool, Woods, or Emmanuel Sanders, non-PPR. I'm definitely playing Claypool this week. Seattle's terrible, giving up a ton of yardage. Juju's out of the mix. Claypool was in the mix last week. Let's go. Let's fire up that Chase Claypool. This is what we've been waiting for. I mean, Woods is a decent play too, but I think at this point, you play the matchup, and as good as the matchup is against the Giants, you also see Cooper Kupp continue to be the guy. Woods starting to work his way in. That's nice. That's happening. But at the same time, I think we take Chase Claypool here and we play for that touchdown. Canadian Crab wants to know, Joe, full PPR, do I start Javonte Williams or Devontae Booker? Javonte or Devontae? It's one of those questions for the ages. This is a tough one because Devontae Booker has the backfield to himself. But the problem is, do I care? Do I care? Is the Giants offense enough to get me excited about that, or do I take the chance with Javonte Williams? I'm actually going to roll the dice with Javonte Williams. And I understand we've got Melvin Gordon still there. I understand the timeshare is all there. But at the same time, I'm looking at that Rams front. They played very well this year. Devontae Booker is a backup for a reason. Can Devontae Booker get you 65 yards and a touchdown? Probably. But if he doesn't get you that touchdown, it's tougher. I'm going to go roll the dice with the talent of Javonte Williams here. It is very close. I understand why you asked that question. Let's go to Garrett here next. Garrett, start Allen Robinson or Rondale Moore half PPR. Man, it's come to this. I feel you, Garrett. I understand why you're so frustrated with Allen Robinson, and you have every right to be, but it's not Allen Robinson's fault. Let's blame Matt Nagy. Let's blame the play calling. Eventually, at some point, we have to open things up here and start throwing the ball downfield a little bit more. It's one thing to give a young quarterback like Fields some time to figure things out. It's another thing to hold him back. You're playing in a very important matchup here against the Packers. You know that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the football and throw it with intensity. Therefore, I would roll the dice with Allen Robinson here. I like Rondale Moore. It's not a knock on Rondale Moore. I think I'm going to try one more time with Allen Robinson and hope that we get a correction. If we're all talking about Allen Robinson not being good or not being involved enough, don't you think the Bears are? Don't you think Allen Robinson is? I got to imagine at some point in time this changes. This is a perfect week for it to change. Fields has played for a couple weeks. He has to have a better command of the playbook. He has to have a little bit more confidence. You have to start throwing the football downfield, especially in a situation where you're down another running back. I think that is the tiebreaker for me. You got to get Allen Robinson more involved in this game and just force the ball his way. And especially with those secondary injuries that the Packers have had the last few weeks too. Let's try Allen Robinson one more time and we'll die on that hill, and we very well might. All right, Evan wants to know, pick one, Damian Harris or Devontae Booker or Alex Collins. Lots of ors here. Oh, my goodness gracious. I don't feel great about Alex Collins. I don't feel great about this offense going forward. Devontae Booker, same thing against the Rams. I think I'm going to try Damian Harris one more time in New England. I'm going to go roll the dice here with him. I know they want to get Ramondre Stevenson a little bit more play here, but I think that's just more of a motivator for Damian Harris. So give me Damian Harris here. I don't like to mess around with backups when I can avoid it. Damian Harris is still the starter. And backups are backups for a reason, typically, especially when you're playing with backup quarterbacks on top of that with Geno Smith. I don't love that matchup for Geno. Leroy Woods wants to know, need a quarterback too. Should I go with Bridgewater, Roethlisberger? Roethlisberger against Seattle. Lock it up. Let's not get cute here with Teddy B. No offense to Teddy B. Much better situation against Seattle here. You got to take the shot with Roethlisberger. Teddy wants to know, Khalil Herbert or OBJ, half PPR for flex spot. I am done with OBJ. I was done with OBJ before the season started. What is he, like wide receiver 167 right now in the year? I don't know. It's bad. That's all I know. It's been a terrible start to the year. And I understand the thought process. Well, maybe there's more here for Odell Beckham. And maybe that's true here with Chubb out, with Hunt being hurt. Maybe you do have to rely on him more. But at the same time, I don't feel good relying on him. I don't feel good about him converting. I know Landry's out too. I get it. Everything on paper means it should be Odell, but I'm going to go with the guaranteed touches of Khalil Herbert. Hope that he falls in the end zone once. And if he does, that should be enough in half-point PPR for him to be better than OBJ. Let's go to McKinnon here or Stevenson, full PPR. This is how ugly week 6 is. James wants to know Jerick McKinnon or Stevenson in the full PPR. That's where we are. I would not be shocked to see Jerick McKinnon get some work in this game, especially in the passing game. And I think in PPR, I would take that shot over Stevenson. I just would. Stevenson has to get a touchdown here in order for him to return any value. McKinnon might get some play just from a couple receptions. And who knows? Jerick McKinnon might actually break one. So, yeah, give me McKinnon in that setup. If it was in standard, I might feel differently. But it's not. So give me Jerick McKinnon. All right, next here is Rar Tortle. CeeDee Lamb, Jacoby Myers, or Kadarius Toney full point PPR. I'm still rolling with CeeDee Lamb. As much as I love Kadarius Toney, and I am the Kadarius Toney guy, I'm very excited to see what he does today. We shall see if I'm disappointed or not. I can't take CeeDee Lamb out of my lineup. Too much talent, just way too good of a player. David is up next here. Hawkinson or Hunter Henry, non-PPR. You know, Hawkinson's health has been really troubling. He is going to play today against the Bengals. Hunter Henry's trending in a better direction. What makes this question difficult is the non-PPR, the standard league portion of it. I think I still got to lean Hawkinson, the better talent here, for better or worse. Just going to lean that way. I know Hawkinson's been dealing with this injury for a couple weeks now, but I think I still got to try to roll Hawkinson out there and play the better player in this matchup. All right, Will Hayden wants to know Boyd or Allen Robinson. I'm going to go with Allen Robinson. I'm staying on this train here. Remember a couple weeks ago when I was staying on the Robert Woods train and it broke out and it started to work? I think that's the same thing. I think we're going to get an overcorrection. I think that's going to come pretty soon here. So give me Allen Robinson in this one. Taylor Heineke or Joe Burrow. That's from Gerald. Gerald wants to know Taylor Heineke or Joe Burrow. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow against Detroit. He's playing well. Still the offensive line lets him down sometimes. Still Joe Burrow can make some mistakes, but at the same time, I'm a little worried about Taylor Heineke's healthy pieces right now. You got Antonio Gibson dealing with that calf injury. You have Terry McLaurin dealing with injury. I know they're all playing, but what if one of them comes out in this game because of the injury? I don't know. That kind of worries me. Also, what worries me in this one is Kansas City getting embarrassed last week defensively. Typically, when teams get embarrassed on a Monday night or a Sunday night, they tend to get their rear ends chewed a little bit by their coaches, and then they kind of respond the following week. And I know the Kansas City D isn't great, but at the same time, I think that they respond and they play with a little bit more energy and a little bit more passion after getting embarrassed last week by Buffalo. So give me Joe Burrow in this one. Next is Roku Mamba. Hollywood Brown or Keenan Allen? Oh, I want to start both of them. I think you got to start Hollywood Brown the way he's played. It's really tough to take him out right now. Here's the other thing I would throw into this wrinkle. If Derwin James is coming up to guard Mark Andrews one-on-one, which I would guess is going to happen today, that gives Marquise Brown some opportunities here over the middle deep. And I think that is something that Lamar Jackson will try to take advantage of. You're also going to get Bateman on the field a little bit in this game too. That should be fun to watch. Look, Herbert's played great. Both of these are good options. It makes me reevaluate where we're going here and who else you're playing. But I would play both these guys. If I had to only choose one, though, I choose Hollywood Brown just for the touchdown equity he's been bringing to the games lately. It's just more than Keenan Allen has brought because of Mike Williams. I know the Mike Williams injury is out there. I understand it's floating around, but he's playing. As long as he's on the field, it does downgrade the touchdown equity just slightly for Keenan Allen. Next here, John Y. Hey, Joe. Hey, John. Full point PPR, Jamal Williams or Alex Collins? I don't like Jamal Williams' health here in this game. I know he's playing split backfield. Give me Alex Collins because, once again, all the touches is better than split touches for a guy with an injury. I think that's the tiebreaker, how I would go there. Next is Taylon Davis, full point PPR. Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon, Darrell Henderson, pick 2. Don't mind if I do. I will take Darrell Henderson because he's playing the Giants, and I will take Joe Mixon because he's playing the Lions. Both those guys are playing. Both those guys have the backfield to themselves. I'm worried a little bit about Antonio Gibson's shin injury. I know he's on the field. That's a good thing. This is a good problem to have compared to everybody else in fantasy football who can't buy a healthy running back. But I'm going to go with Mixon and Henderson and play it safer this week. Natasha wants to know, start McLaurin or Hunt today? Ooh, another tricky one here. If it's a full point PPR, I'm still playing the wide receiver McLaurin. Just because we know Hunt is going to be on a pitch count. That gives me slight concern. However, if it's half or standard, I would lean towards Kareem Hunt because I do think he will touch the football more. But Terry McLaurin's a better fantasy asset, and I think you always have to keep that in mind. Next is Exterminator. Paisan. Hey, what's up, Egg? Gordon the Third or Sony Michel half-point PPR? Gordon the Third still. Yeah, you still got to keep putting Melvin Gordon out there. I know it's gross, but you know what? It's the timeshare. It is what it is for now until eventually things win out. I know Sony Michel has been getting some more play in this offense. That's fair. But keep this in mind, too. I think you have to consider Henderson having some extra time to rest since they haven't played in a while. It's been 10 days, right? So they've had a little bit more time off. I think that's good for Darrell Henderson, which means probably a little bit less here for Sony Michel. Give me Melvin Gordon. I think he has more touchdown equity in this game as well. Next is B. Lou. Any trust in Allen Robinson left? Very little. Very little. But I think this is an opportunity here today in division matchup where you have to think that you have to start opening up the field for Justin Fields. You have to. You can't keep playing like this. Their pace of play is toward the bottom of the league. Their air yards towards the bottom of the league. You have to start looking at why you drafted Justin Fields. And Justin Fields throwing the football in college was fantastic. You have to start trusting him with the football now. Matt Nagy has to realize that his job really depends on it, not being conservative, but on trusting Justin Fields. Whether or not he comes to that realization, we'll find out. But if I have guys on that fringe right now, let's say Allen Robinson or Woods, I'd probably play Woods. If I had Allen Robinson or Odell Beckham, I'm playing Allen Robinson every day of the week. All right, next here. Milton wants to know, PPR standard, Chuba Hubbard or Darrell Williams? I'm going to go with Chuba here. Chuba, I think, still is part of this offense. Darrell Williams doesn't need to be part of this offense, just like Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't need to. And Patrick Mahomes all day can just throw the football in this Washington secondary. They have been dreadful this year. So, yeah, Williams could fall in the end zone, and yeah, Williams could be okay, but they don't need to use Williams. I think that the Panthers need to use Chuba Hubbard, so give me Chuba here, especially in the PPR. Just want to touch the football a little bit more. Ernie wants to know, Dak versus New England or Burrow versus Detroit? I have a hard time ever sitting Dak Prescott. I really do. Dak has been outstanding this year. He's just played off the charts. I would still play Dak, and I get why you're tempted. Why you're tempted is this matchup against Detroit for Joe Burrow. I'm still going to go with Dak Prescott. He's got all those fancy weapons. I know the Patriots defense is very good. They are. But the Patriots defense also gave up 300 passing yards to Davis Mills last week. Okay, so let's not forget about that. Next here, Classic wants to know, Pollard or Alex Collins, full point PPR. still going to roll the dice with Tony Pollard. Just, I like the offense better. As much as it's nice to think Alex Collins gets all the run here in this Seattle offense at the running back position, what does that mean against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense? What does that mean with a healthy TJ Watt on the field? That's a distinct question. I think we have to give ourselves pause and ask. Normally, I would say, yeah, take all the volume, but take all the volume and look at the matchup. Pollard's been good enough. He has my respect in PPR. If this was half, I'd probably lean towards Collins. If it was standard, Collins. But if it's just full point PPR, give me Pollard. All right, let's take a quick break in the action here to tell you, of course, about Pristine Auction. We all know how much I love Pristine Auction, all the cool stuff, all the cool swag you can get from them. And in case you didn't know it, we're doing a live giveaway in the next hour with Kyle Yates at 12 p.m. Eastern. That live stream today, we're going to be giving away an Amari Cooper autographed jersey thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction. That's Pristine auction.com. So if you want to win, you want to get entered into this contest, we're going to give it away live. It's very simple. Subscribe to Fantasy Pros YouTube before noon. So right now, subscribe. That's how you can ask me a question too. If you're wondering, hey, I'm watching, but why can't I ask a question? It's because you're not a subscriber. So subscribe. And when you do, don't forget to click that little notifications button. And that way you get updated when all the great content comes out. So you subscribe, you ask a question in the chat, and just like that, you're entered to win. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's literally next to nothing. I'm helping your fantasy team, and I might give you a free jersey autographed by Amari Cooper. What kind of incredible world do we live in? It's an amazing, beautiful place. I can tell you that. And it's going to be more beautiful when you have that Amari Cooper jersey, and you can even wear it if you want. You can wear an autographed jersey. Everyone puts it on the wall. You know what? You want to wear it? Go crazy. Whatever you want to do, it could be yours, but you got to subscribe before we get to noon today. So subscribe to that Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, and don't forget to click that notifications button when you do. And during the Kyle Yates hour of glory, you can absolutely find out if you won. So you want to stick with us this entire time. Let's get to more of your questions here. Shlomo, always a winner. Shlomos are always the best. There's not enough Shlomos nowadays. That's one of those names that's gone out of fashion. I'd love to see it brought back. More Shlomos. TJ Hawkinson or Jacoby Myers or Hunter Renfrow. I love all the ors. Can't get enough of the ors. Some people like the slash when they ask a question. Other people go with the ors. Both are acceptable here. I'm going to go with Hunter Renfrow, if you can believe it. I'm just worried about the health of Hawkinson. Jacoby Myers hasn't scored a touchdown since he was in high school, I feel like. I mean, it's just crazy. And then there's Hunter Renfrow, who is really part of this offense. I don't think any of us really know what the Raiders are going to be without John Gruden and how that's going to look. But I will say this, Hunter Renfrow has been part of this offense. Myers is also a good play. I'm worried about Hawkinson's health, and Hawkinson's health on the field is translating to bad points. Jacoby Myers is pretty steady. I think Renfrow offers you a floor and maybe even a little touchdown upside today. I think he might have that. Corey's up next here. Do I risk it with Mike Williams or put Mooney in? Yeah, risk it with Mike Williams. That's too big of a downgrade from Williams all the way at the top here to Mooney. Mooney's good. Mooney's a guy in deeper leagues you can play sometimes, but you can't sit Mike Williams if Mike Williams is playing. For better or worse, you play Mike Williams. All right, let's go to My Name Is My Name. Very clever. You spent all day on that one, didn't you? All right, next, Darrell Williams, pardon me, or Josh Jacobs, half-point PPR. Another tricky one here. I'm going to go with Darrell Williams and just hope for a touchdown. I thought Jacobs was trending in the right direction last week. I like what I saw. He looked more explosive than he has most of the year. But the problem is he hasn't crossed 50 yards yet rushing. He hasn't crossed 50 yards yet rushing in a game, Josh Jacobs. So how can we go with Josh Jacobs with the lack of touchdown equity he might bring? So give me Darrell Williams in this one. All right. Next here. Hunter Renfrow or Kadarius Toney. And that's from Eric. You got to go with Toney here. I mean, just from the fun to watch factor. I understand Renfro's a nice save points, but you know what? Kadarius Toney is doing things that a lot of guys can't do on an NFL football field. I think we have to try this. If your lineup is very good and you're probably going to win, or let's say you're playing a team that had some Eagles on it, or you're playing the team that had Miles Sanders on it, and things are already looking your way, then that's okay. You want to take the easy points with Hunter Renfrow? I ain't mad at you. But I think you got to throw Toney in there and see what happens. You spent fab on him. See what goes on with Toney this week. All right. Chris wants to know, how do I feel about Kareem Hunt? He wants to know, is it a secret? I don't know if it's a secret or not. I will tell everyone. I feel good about Kareem Hunt, but the injury and the pitch count don't make me feel great. Let's also not forget that the best version of Kareem Hunt last year was always when Nick Chubb was on the field. Granted, he was dealing with an injury of his own when Nick Chubb went down last year, and the next thing you know, we get Dearness Johnson. And the last thing I want to see today is Dearness Johnson or Felton or any of those guys. I just want to see Kareem Hunt. Problem is, I don't know if we're going to get that. That's where I struggle. So Kareem Hunt is a viable flex guy this week for sure. As an RB2 of desperation, I understand this is where we are, but you have to look around and understand there's a little bit more risk with Kareem Hunt than maybe we want to admit this week. All right, let's go on here with the next question. D. Watto wants to know, Rondell Moore or A.J. Dillon in the flex? In a PPR, I'm going to go with Rondell Moore. In the half PPR, I'm going to go with Rondell Moore. In the standard league, I'm going to go with Rondell Moore. I'm just going to go with Rondell Moore. How's that for you? And I like what A.J. Dillon's starting to do. I think this is great. He's getting more involved. But we all know, big in-division game, Aaron Jones probably going to get a lot of action in this one. All right, next here, Alex G. Pittman or Sutton in PPR? I'm definitely going with Pittman. Pittman's target volume has been very solid. Cortland Sutton has 1 touchdown on the year. I think Pittman's trending up. I think Sutton's trending in the other direction. That's the way I'm going right now. I'm going to take that Houston matchup, and I'm going to roll with it. I also like the fact that T.Y. Hilton's back on the field. That's good. Somebody else people have to at least pretend to guard for the Houston Texans. But I think Pittman is the way to go here, so give me Pittman. And look, Sutton's not bad. I think Sutton is a great sell-high candidate, though, right now. Keep that in mind, even if it has a good game this week. You got Jerry Jeudy coming back in a couple weeks. You got the split backfield. You got a lot of mouths to feed. I think Sutton might be a good guy to maybe flip right now, especially with Bipocalypse coming up next week. By the way, next week, Chris, I want to see a graphic for Bipocalypse, where everyone's on a bye next week. I want that graphic. I want things shooting and exploding. We need more explosives here. I've been telling Chris here for a week now, live streams are great. Not enough things blowing up. More explosions. That's what we need. That's where the ratings are. Next up here, we have Tigi. Tigi wants to know, Mike Williams or Brandon Cooks in PPR? Bro. Really? Bro. It's Mike Williams. You have to play Mike Williams. Have you not seen Mike Williams? Have you not watched what's going on? Do you even watch the games, bro? Sorry. That's an old joke from a long time with some good friends of mine. But still, you have to start Mike Williams. I understand why you're concerned because of the injury. So I'm making jokes, but in all honesty, Mike Williams. Bro. All right, next. Let's move on here. Bugs Bunny wants to know, Chase Edmonds or Darrell Williams in the full point PPR. I'm going to still go with Chase Edmonds. He's played very well this year. And that's a guy that I was not on this year at all. But he's running hard. He is showing that he wants more of a role. I get it. It's kind of funny because he's kind of capped a little bit with the touchdown equity because of Kyler Murray and James Conner. And then there's Darrell Williams, who I feel like is a little bit more tied into touchdown equity only. So in the PPR, I'll just take the points with Edmonds because I think he brings you points. And who knows, maybe he can break one here and get yourself a touchdown. Will Hayden, have any favorite defensive stashes for the next week? Looking at Arizona versus Houston, New England versus the Jets, and New Orleans versus Seattle. For me, this one, New England versus the Jets. I mean, that last one against Zach Wilson was, that was a good defensive day for the Patriots. So yeah, give me New England versus the Jets. And this time it's going to be in New England on the road here. Yeah, definitely that one. Nikos, is Chris Evans even worth considering as a flex in standard leagues? No. It's all Joe Mixon today. With P. Ryan out, especially, it's all Joe Mixon. Maybe he'll get a couple carries, but not enough to start. No way. Steve Diaz, PPR flex, Aaron Jones or Emmanuel Sanders today? Aaron Jones or Emmanuel? Steve, is this really Dan Harris asking this question? How in the world are we sitting Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones? A true RB1? A top 5 RB this week? No. Come on now, Aaron Jones. Come on. Let's not overthink things. This is when things get weird, okay? I want to keep it cool here. Everybody be cool. Everybody take a nice deep breath. Aaron Jones should always be playing over Emmanuel Sanders. I don't know what universe this is even up for debate. You know how many people would love to have Aaron Jones right now? A lot. Millions of people would like to have Aaron Jones right now in their lineup. Joshua T. Damian Harris, Tony Pollard, or Jamal Williams, half-point PPR, RB2 slot. I'm still going to go with Damian Harris. Give me all the touches, unfettered. I don't know. I'm just not buying the whole Ramondre Stevenson takeover thing. Maybe it'll change. Maybe you'll see Brandon Bolden more too. I don't know. It could be a disaster. Pollard is not a bad start. Williams is a distant third. I think if you're worried about Harris, that's fine. Pollard, I think, is safe enough. He'll get his touches. You know what you're getting. It's going to be a little cap. But I think at the same time, you try to play for the Harris volume and just hope for the best. Derek is up next. Pollard or Gordon? Ugh. Half point PPR, give me Gordon, a little bit more touchdown equity. Standard, give me Gordon, a little bit more touchdown equity. PPR, I think you could start Pollard if you wanted to. It's a little dicey because Zeke's been really good these last few weeks, but I think you could kind of flip a coin there on that one. In my opinion, I think Gordon's the guy that's just a little bit safer because you know he's going to touch the football X number of times. Probably good for what if you're predicting half a touchdown, right? So probably a little closer. Whereas Tony Pollard, probably more like 0.3 for the touchdown. Yeah, maybe Gordon's 0.5 in terms of potential. So I think you edge a little bit over to Gordon. It's close, though. It's absolutely close this week, especially. Next is CC, full point PPR. Chase Edmonds or Javonte Williams. In the full point, you got to go with Edmonds still. I wish Javonte was getting more work in the passing game. I wish he was, but at the same point, there's only so much we can hope for. I think Javonte Williams, though, as the season drags on, you're going to be happy to hold. So just hold and be patient, okay? Next here, Jeffrey, Joey, my man. Jeffrey, my man. Pick 3, full PPR. McLaurin, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Jamar Chase. I think I'm just going to make this simple here. I'm going to put Terry McLaurin to the side this week. I know Mike Williams is injured too, but Mike Williams is playing at such a high level. I'm just going to pick one of the injured guys. One of the injured guys being Mike Williams with the better quarterback with Herbert. That's how I'm going to make this distinction. I'm going to keep DJ Moore. I'm going to keep Chase. I'm going to keep Mike Williams. I'm going to pass off McLaurin with Taylor Heineke. He's not in the same class of quarterback as Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow. So I'm going to play those guys instead. I'm going to sit McLaurin with that combination of things. The one dice roll I will take is Mike Williams. Zach is up next. Darrell Williams or Sutton? I think in the full PPR, you still play Sutton. In the half, I can understand touching the football more. Give me Darrell Williams in the half, Sutton in the full. Remind them about liking the video, Chris. Chris says to remind everybody. All right, Chris, I'll tell everybody. Like the video, everybody. It's a nice, friendly reminder from Chris. Hey, Joe, stop talking. Take a deep breath, is what Chris says. Remind everybody to like the video and subscribe to Fantasy Pros. If you're wondering why everyone's able to ask questions and you can't, it's because you haven't subscribed yet. And remember, if you subscribe today before noon, which only gives you about 25 minutes left to do it, you might have an opportunity, if you subscribe and ask a question, to win an Amari Cooper jersey that's autographed by Chris. No, it's autographed by Amari Cooper. But Pristine Auction would never put any of Chris's personal items up for sale like I do on eBay from time to time. So once again, subscribe, click that notifications bell. Every single podcast we do at Fantasy Pros is out there on the YouTube channel, thanks to our good friend Chris and the team behind him, which I'm not sure the size of the team right now. I'm pretty sure Chris is the captain and co-captain of the team, working his butt off right now. But at the same time, don't forget, we've also got the live streams. We've got some other amazing content and videos coming out there. So it's not just the pods. It's a whole lot more. We are a full service YouTube channel. Don't forget that. So get in on that and like the video because I need the positive reinforcement, people. Please. It's a little quick thumbs up. That's all I need. It makes me so happy. Sam Malone. Finally, Sam Malone surfacing again after all those years in Boston, working in that bar. Lockett or A.J. Brown in PPR? Oh, baby. This is a tough one. I know why you're here. Okay, here's my problem with A.J. Brown this week. It's the Bills secondary. That's my problem. It's it. Geno Smith is certainly a downgrade in quarterback to Russell Wilson. I get that. I think Tyler Lockett's volume, though, might be enough in this game if the game script is them playing from behind to make up that deficit. I will roll with Tyler Lockett in the PPR against A.J. Brown, and I hope A.J. Brown breaks out this week. Believe me, I've got A.J. Brown shares. I am suffering with you, but in this week, I think I play it safer with Tyler Lockett. Let me see A.J. Brown do it this week, and if he does it against Buffalo, then you can set him and forget him the rest of the season, but he hasn't done it yet, and this is a tall order. Just look at all the problems they gave Tyreek Hill last week. Tyreek Hill's a lot faster than anybody. All right, let's move on here. Cortland Hughes wants to know, flex spot, Brandon Cooks or Khalil Herbert? Now, this is a little bit closer. Full point PPR. In the full point PPR, give me the wide receiver. Give me Brandon Cooks. Herbert's going to be limited here and how much he can really do. If he carries the ball 15 times, I'm sure you're going to see, Ryan Nall for 6 or 7 carries at some point in this game. That would be my guess. He's not going to get 25 carries. They're not going to do that when they're down to 2 running backs on the roster. So yeah, give me the full point PPR, Brandon Cooks. Give me the wide receiver. Kevin Williams up next. Laviska Shenault or Waddle? I don't want to be a jerk here, but I think the ship has sailed on this one. I don't know if this is a rest of season question, but it seems like you said flex in here. But they're playing already, so I'm just going to skip that one. Okay. AJ Williams, Kadarius Toney, or Tyler Boyd in the flex. Kadarius Toney, it's time to have some fun. Let's go. Let's do it. Kadarius Toney. Tyler Boyd, good, solid, decent, yes. But Kadarius Toney has so much upside. And I want to see Kadarius Toney have even 75, 80% of the game he does. If he even has 60% of the game he had last week, it's probably going to be what Tyler Boyd gives you anyway. Roll the dice. This is the talent. This is the game-breaking guy. The Giants are going to find ways to put the football in his hand today. Don't pretend like they're not. They're going to. Yesterday was very eye-opening last week. All right. Next is King Kush wants to know, Jacobs or Gibson? I still got to roll with Gibson despite the injury over Josh Jacobs. Just a better running back, better situation here. He can catch the football. Jacobs still kind of an enigma right now, so give me Antonio Gibson for better or worse. Another question here, Nathan Malone, drop Waddle for Stevenson. Well, you can't do that now because Waddle's already playing. So again, guys, London games are happening. What are we doing here? We told everybody London games are happening. You got to look at the schedule. You got to be more aware of what's going on. Jamison Woodruff, Chuba or Sutton, half-point PPR. Give me the touches with Chuba. Let's go. My opponent has Bridgewater, and it looks to be a close match. Well, good. Go with Chuba and hope that Bridgewater stinks and drags down Sutton. That's what you're hoping for. So that's what you're looking. Chuba, that's where you go with this one. Peter wants to know half-point PPR, Mecole Hardman or Hill. Now, I mean, you know what, Tyreek Hill or Mecole Hardman? Is that what you're asking me here? I'm starting to feel like people just like the bro thing. That people are saying, you know what, I'm going to ask Joe a question where he's just going to be baited into saying bro over and over at me and calling me out. That's what I think this is. I think you're trolling me. I think you're asking to get broed here on the show. And if this is indeed Tyreek Hill, regardless of this is a troll job or not, bro, you're going to sit Tyreek Hill if he's active and playing for Mecole Hardman? Bro, it's Tyreek Hill. Stop it. Stop it. Now go set your lineup and go make your bed while you're at it. Let's continue on here. Chris F. wants to know, Myers or Julio Jones, full point PPR? This is tough. In the full point PPR, the safe play is definitely Myers. You take your points and get out. However, if you do need upside, if you do need like a crazy play today, it is not great that Buffalo secondary, Julio Jones are all meeting up here and Julio's back on the field. This is a tough sell for me. But Myers is capped. Julio still has Julio talent somewhere in there. It's Julio health that concerns me. I'm going to take the points and go Myers, but if you're already down and you think it's not looking good or you hate who you're playing at running back this week, roll the dice with Julio Jones and hope that you get something fluky, something fun happening here, or maybe a weird letdown game for Buffalo after taking it to the Chiefs last week. Maybe you get it. I don't know. Julio's the upside play, but I think I take Myers in the points. That's where I'm going here. Let's take a quick timeout too and just remind everybody about Stat Hero, the sponsor of today's show. Do you know 85% of people who play daily fantasy sports lose? It's really that surprising. The game is rigged against you, and you're playing against thousands of other lineups, not to mention experts who have more tools, more time than you do. You don't stand a chance. Introducing the first ever daily fantasy sports book, Stat Hero. Stat Hero puts the player in control and winning within reach. Here's how it works. Stat Hero shows you their lineup and dares you to beat them. It's you versus the house in a head-to-head fantasy matchup. You are showing, let me tell you, you're going to get a chance here to name your stakes. You tell how much you want to play for, okay? And winner take all. That's how it works. You have the advantage. You can see who Stat Hero is playing because they're showing you their lineup ahead of time. No one else is doing this. You're in total control of the situation. It's you versus the house at Stat Hero. Stat Hero DFS is changing what DFS is, and maybe it's what DFS was meant to be in the first place. One-on-one matchups. Playing with Stat Hero now changes your odds significantly. Go to stathero.com, sign up for free, and use the promo code FantasyPros on your first deposit to get a 100% bonus match on your deposit. What do you have to lose? Nothing. Just time and energy of playing DFS and throwing money away. You're not going to do that. Stat Hero. Go to stathero.com and use that promo code FantasyPros when you do. All right, let's get to some more of your questions here. There's a lot to go. Daniel wants to know, AJ Brown or Chase Claypool? I'm playing Chase Claypool against the Seahawks. I'm sorry. I want AJ Brown to be good. It's going to be on my tombstone this week. What does Joe want? Joe wants AJ Brown to be good. Joe is not trying to be negative. Joe hates talking about Joe in the third person. It's not something Joe typically does. But in this instance, I had to separate Joe from Joe. And I got to say, I'm going to take Chase Claypool here just a little bit. It's all business. It's not personal. Next is Nate the Nard Dog. Just going to let that hover out there. Aaron Rodgers versus the Bears or Taylor Heineke against the Chiefs? Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. I understand. I get the Taylor Heineke love. I understand. He's been very good. He's scoring points. I get it. Now, this is DFS. It's a different question. You want to roll the dice with Heineke? Okay. He's cheaper. But if we're in just a regular old league right now, you got to start Aaron Rodgers. Especially because right now, think of this. Bears defense is pretty good. I wouldn't say great. They're pretty good. Justin Fields' ability right now to move this offense is in question. So what does that mean? It means more opportunities for the Green Bay Packers. If you're giving extra lives to Aaron Rodgers, don't you think that's good for fantasy productivity? Of course it is. So it's got to be Aaron Rodgers. I understand sometimes getting caught up in the moment of projections and things like that, but it's got to be Aaron Rodgers still. Chuck wants to know, better stash, Sermon, Taysom Hill, or Marlon Mack? It's still Sermon, because at any time an Eli Mitchell injury can change the dynamic of things. It's still Sermon for me over those guys. This Marlon Mack thing, how excited can we get? Remember we got excited when Le'Veon Bell was a stash last year and he got traded to the Chiefs? How'd that work out? What do you have, 3 carries for 5 yards the rest of the season? It was terrible. Nobody likes it. Marlon Mack could get traded, but Mack would be the 2. If you just hate yourself for stashing Sermon, it would be Mack. Next is Melissa wants to know, Thielen or Kadarius Toney? Thielen for floor, Toney for upside. Let's keep it simple. Look at your lineup, look at your opponent, see what you need. Thielen still got good touchdown equities. Thielen's still a good wide receiver in the NFL. It's a little up and down sometimes. The secondary's played pretty well despite the J.C. Horn injury over there for the Carolina Panthers. But it is the Rams. So I would still probably start Thielen, just take it safer. But Toney's knocking on the door right now. If you are already behind, if you hate your lineup right now, roll the dice with Kadarius Toney. If he gives you another big game, you are loving life. I don't know if Thielen's got the big game in him this week against Carolina. I think he's got 15 points. Toney could have 28. That's what Toney is. Toney could also have 8. But you have to understand that when you're setting your lineup. All right, editor Jacobs wants to know, half PPR, Melvin Gordon or Alex Collins? Still Melvin Gordon. I'm just not going to mess around anymore. An honest perspective, finally, what we need. Chris, you need more honest perspective. You do, Chris. Chris needs it. That's head shake number 2. I'm well behind. I've only got 15 minutes to go, and I need 7 more. I'll see what I can do. Maybe someone else will ask me if they should start Tyreek Hill or Byron Pringle next. Maybe we could do that instead. Byron Pringle. All right. An honest perspective wants to know, half PPR, Chase Edmonds or Melvin Gordon? I'm going to go with Chase Edmonds here. Give me Chase Edmonds. That's where I'm going. I'm going to stick on this train. Tyler wants to know, pick 3, D-Hop, CeeDee Lamb, Darrell Henderson, or Antonio Gibson. Well, I'm definitely playing the 2 wide receivers off the bat. Playing CeeDee Lamb, playing Hopkins. After that, give me Darrell Henderson against the Giants. I think it's a safe matchup. I think you get your points, you get out. I love Gibson. I understand on paper this should be really good, but the Gibson shin injury gives me pause enough. Give me Hop, give me CeeDee Lamb, give me Henderson. I think that's the way I go this week. Rolando wants to know, full PPR, Brandon Cooks or Chuba Hubbard? I'm going to go with more touches of guarantee with Hubbard. That's where I'm going to go. It's not a knock on Cooks. Just give me Hubbard. All right, next year, Level me up, full PPR, Jacobs or Collins. This is where, again, I go to Collins. So we had this one again. I'm still going to go to Collins, even the PPR, because he's going to have the backfield mostly to himself. We'll see if anybody else works their way in. GDR says, pick one for my last flex. Khalil Herbert, Adam Thielen, Kadarius Toney, Emmanuel Sanders. Thielen is the safe play. Toney's the upside. Once again, those are the two guys it comes to. All right, let's go to Capola Napoleon. That's a great name. That was actually Chris's stage name when he was in vaudeville. People don't know that. It was Capola Napoleon. Aloha. Flex half PPR. Javonte Williams or Tim Patrick. I'm going to go with Javonte Williams here. Maybe we get a big play. I'm feeling the overall passing of the Denver Broncos just coming back down to earth. Nice story the first couple of weeks. It's always a nice story when you're playing the Jets and the Houston Texans. All of a sudden, you start playing real teams. Things change real quick. Also, tough in-division matchup there. In-division games get messy. Give me the running backs in those messy ones. Keith Crosby, Latavius Murray, Devontae Booker, half PPR. Latavius Murray all day over Devontae Booker. You look at what the Chargers have given up in terms of yardage this year. It's been a lot on the ground. I understand there's imperfections in the backfield when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, but I think you still go with Latavius Murray. Taylor Heineke or Sam Darnold? That's what McCray wants to know. Sam Darnold still. I know why you're asking. I get it. I'll tell you what. Once again, if you need more upside, you're playing from behind already, I can understand wanting to roll out Taylor Heineke, and I'm okay with it. But I think the safer play is Sam Darnold this week. I'm going to stay safer with the quarterback position and try to get my points and get out. Artie Gutierrez. And let me say for the record, let the record show, and Chris will record this for the record as always to play it back later and embarrass me. This is an important game for Sam Darnold. If Sam Darnold does not play well again here for the, second or third straight time against actual competition, right? Not the jabronis he was playing the first few weeks. Then we could start wondering, are we seeing a 2.0 version of what happened with Bridgewater last year, where things were good out of the gate when the schedule was good, and then we got real teams on there, things change. This is an important game here for Darnold's fantasy value rest of the season. If he bounces back, has a good game, okay, now we're rolling. If he doesn't, though, everyone's going to start to wonder, all right, well, Sam Darnold really as viable as we thought he was in the beginning of the season. That's going to happen real fast. Artie Gutierrez, half-point PPR, DJ Moore, Hollywood Brown, or Deontay Johnson. Pick one. What is it, a 6-team league? These are all great options. I love all these guys. In the half-point PPR, I'm looking for touchdown equity. I think I still got to roll with DJ Moore and hope for the best here. So give me DJ Moore. He's the best of all worlds. Hollywood Brown is close there. Deontay Johnson, if it was full-point PPR, I'd go that route in a second. But give me DJ Moore, the total package. Let's hope for a bounce back. I understand why last week's frustrating. I get that. Next here is Jordan Meese wants to know, Javonte Williams or Zach Moss? I'm going to go with Javonte Williams here in this matchup. Let's play the matchup a little bit. Eddie wants to know, Hubbard or Darrell Williams, Chuba Hubbard for me. T-Dub, better stash, Daniel Jones, T.Y. Hilton, or Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know why you need to stash a second quarterback here unless you got buys coming up. It really depends on roster need. If you're desperate for running back, or maybe you have Damian Harris and you're worried, then Stevenson. Hilton probably the best stash of all of them if he's healthy, because maybe some actual quarterback play from Carson Wentz going in the right direction could be good. Rob wants to know, Teddy B or Tannehill? A very tricky one today. I'm going to buck the trend here. I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill. I am. Give me Ryan Tannehill in this one. I know it's a tough matchup, but if you got both wide receivers on the field, I have to imagine we're going to finally see the real offense show up again. Glenn Walker, non-PPR, Kadarius Toney or T. Higgins? Higgins is the safer play. Tony's the upside once again, because Toney is just lightning in a bottle. He's that good. He could be that bad, but I think if you just need the points, you take Higgins and you move on. Daddy Fat Sacks, which was also another name used by Chris. A lot of people don't know this. When Chris was dancing in Las Vegas, it was a short-term thing. We're up to 3 here, I think, on the head shake. I think an eye roll should count double, so I'm going to put myself now at the meter somewhere around 5 or 6. But for this one right here, I think Daddy Fat Sacks, I'm going to go with T. Higgins over Zach Moss. I assume that's what we're talking about here. It's T. Higgins. T. Higgins over Zach Moss. Thomas wants to know, flex in non-PPR, Khalil Herbert or DJ Moore? Thomas, you're doing it to me. You're doing it again, bro. Bro, you didn't even know who this guy was 2 weeks ago. Okay? You didn't know who Khalil Herbert was 2 weeks ago. Don't pretend like you did. And now you want to start him over DJ Moore? No. I will not let you. No. No. Now go clean your room. No. DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert. Robert Woods or Chase Claypool from Wordman. I'm going to play the touchdown equity with Claypool against Seattle. I think Woods and Claypool are going to be very close. It's very tight this week for me. I think Claypool is a good play, though, against Seattle. I just do. I think Seattle's going to get in a bad way this week. Just in a bad way. Next here, Aiden wants to know Lamar or Mahomes? Lamar or Mahomes? What kind of universe are we living in? We got to choose from these two guys today. I think you play Mahomes against Washington in this game where they probably got to put up a lot. But I'll tell you what, I think Lamar is the safer floor because he's going to give you the rushing total. So look at the rest of your lineup here. And if you like the rest of your lineup, I think you play Lamar Jackson, you get out of there because there is that scenario, as always, with Mahomes where they could get close to the goal line and then just it's Jerick McKinnon or it's Darrell Williams scoring touchdowns. That scenario exists. The thing with Lamar is Lamar controls pretty much the whole destiny. You know, Lamar's running in touchdowns. He's throwing touchdowns. It's the only thing. And he gives you all that rushing upside, especially against the Chargers. I don't know, man. This is tough. If it's DFS, you're playing Lamar. He's cheaper and he has the rushing upside. But that's a weird look. Here's the answer. You need to be trading one of these guys. What are you doing in a single quarterback format with both these guys? Trade one and get your team better somewhere else. Brian Evans wants to know full point PPR, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, or James Conner. Full point PPR, I think I'm going to roll with Julio Jones. OBJ is dead to me until further notice. Julio Jones ain't far behind, but I'm going to give Julio the benefit of the doubt. James Conner's okay. He's not a bad play, but in the full point PPR, he's not a great one. Jacob wants to know, pick 2, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Kadarius Toney. I'm going to go with both the San Diego. Oh, I did it. I promised myself I wouldn't do it all season, but I did. Los Angeles Chargers. I almost said San Diego there. Old habits die hard. Give me Williams and Keenan Allen. I think it's going to be a fun shootout there. And if you want to just get different here, then Mike Williams and Kadarius Toney. But I think both have their upside. And don't forget to stick around because in just 6 short minutes, just 6 minutes, you're going to get Kyle Yates taking you through, and Kyle Yates is going to put an Amari Cooper jersey on someone's back. It's going to be unbelievable. Make sure if you haven't already, you only got 5 more minutes to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you click that notifications button when you do. That way, you're able to get in on this, but don't forget, you have to ask a question too, and maybe you can ask a ridiculous question to Kyle Yates, like, should you start Mecole Hardman or Tyreek Hill? Ridiculous question. Ridiculous. All right, let's move on to the next one here. See how many we can burn here. Perry B. Shepard or Cooks, full point PPR. I'm going to go with Cooks in this one. It might surprise some people, but I'm going to roll with Cooks. Shepard coming back from the injury against the Rams. Ramsey's been playing in the slot a lot. If I'm the Rams, I start out saying, okay, let's take Shepard out and let's see what this Tony kid is. That might change as the game evolves, so keep an eye on it. But I think that's how I would start. Cooks might have the better opportunity to be useful for the entire game. Alexander Rosa wants to know, A.J. Brown, I think you mean Myers or Pittman, full point PPR. You just waited to ask this question so that Yates could hear this in the green room because he's backstage listening. And I'm going to say Pittman. That's right. It's come to this. I'm going to say Pittman over both of those guys. I like the matchup. I like where the target volume's going. He finally got in the end zone. It's good that T.Y. Hilton's on the field. I don't know how much he's going to be on the field, but it's a good thing. Give me Pittman in the matchup. All right. One last time. Don't forget Pristine Auction. That's Pristine auction.com. We're going to be giving away an Amari Cooper jersey live with Kyle Yates, as if there wasn't enough reason to watch already an entire hour of Kyle Yates answer your questions. You might get some free swag. Subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, click the notifications bell, ask a question. That's how you get in the drawing. And don't forget all of our great content that is out there for you over on our YouTube channel of Fantasy Pros, all the podcasts, all the live streams, all the videos, maybe even some, private things there where Chris gets on there and talks about his feelings from time to time too. You never know what you might find out. He likes this idea, which means, Chris, forget it. It's a terrible idea. Nobody wants to hear about your feelings, Chris. Nobody. I want to hear about your feelings Chris seems to think this might be a good idea. It might be like a whole Dr. Phil thing. I don't know. All right, let's go to Ben Andrews next. Alex Collins or Kadarius Toney as my flex. Give me Toney. Give me Toney. Again, just one touch. I feel like Little Giants. Just one time. That's all you got. Just one time. Kadarius Toney, that's all you need. I don't like the game script for Collins on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers with Geno Smith playing quarterback. I don't like it. All right, Tequila Mockingbird, one of my good friends, Joe. It's good to see you, Tequila Mockingbird. How am I? I'm doing okay. T. Higgins or Michael Pittman Jr. I need a good floor in the PPR. Well, look, both these guys I think give you a good floor. The problem is T. Higgins is fighting with Jamar Chase now. Jamar Chase seems to be the alpha. He seems to be the guy, which means for me, Pittman gives you the same floor as Higgins right now, probably, or close to it, and maybe just a hair more touchdown upside. I don't think you can go wrong here. I'd like to start both of these guys, but I think I'd roll the dice with Pittman because he's that guy. If you're talking about the Bengals right now, you have to keep in mind what you've got is Jamar Chase playing out of his mind, scoring a ton of touchdowns. You still got Tyler Boyd in the mix. You still got Joe Mixon. Right now, Pittman's fighting against what? Taylor? That's it. It's Pittman and Taylor. It's a Pittman-Taylor show, which is a fun show. I like the show. I want to see more of the show. But I think I would go with Pittman by a hair in this one. Trey Lance worth holding for next week. Yeah, I think it's worth holding because I think he has value next week when Buypocalypse hits us. And more injuries are going to come next week on top of all the people on buy. So yeah, hang on to him 1 week if you can. Last question here, or maybe we'll squeeze in another one. We'll see. Dats wants to know, half-point PPR, Tyreek Hill or Mike Williams? Oh, Tyreek Hill or what kind of league are? Oh, this is beautiful. These are first world problems you're having right now. This is great. Look, I would still play Tyreek Hill in this matchup. I can't ever take Tyreek Hill out, not against that Washington front. Mike Williams very well could be the decoy. It's very possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility. You're going to know that real soon. So give me Tyreek Hill still. Tyreek Hill is still in a tier that is that super elite. It's him. It's Devontae Adams right now. They're kind of that elite tier. I know Mike Williams statistically is there, but he hasn't done it over a full season the way those other guys have. So little different in terms of the equity they should have with you as a fantasy player. All right, let's see. Can we squeeze another one? I think we can. Mizu Shep wants to know, Keenan Allen or Jamar Chase, half-point PPR. It's always Jamar Chase now. Jamar Chase is a wide receiver 1. Keenan Allen's a fringe wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 now most weeks. That's just the story of the game right now until further notice. That's what's going on. Last one here, Renee Diaz. Harris from New England or Herbert with Chicago? I'm going to go Harris in New England still for better or worse. I was going to still keep banging that drum. Again, Herbert was third on the depth chart. They're down running backs. I'm sure Nall's going to get some work here. I just think that there's a limitation here with Herbert. It's one thing if we're talking about DFS and salaries and all that. It's another stuff if we're talking about I got to win a season-long matchup. Different story, different tone. So still give me Harris for better or worse for the workload there. All right. That'll do it for me. I want to thank the sponsor of the show again. That's Stat Hero. Go over to Stat Hero. Play DFS the way it was meant to be. Head-to-head. Stat Hero shows you all the cards, and then you wager how much you think you're going to beat them by. That sounds like a good time. And again, they will match 100% bonus up to $100 there with the promo code FantasyPros. Don't forget about that. And don't forget, you got like 30 seconds left to subscribe to the YouTube channel over at Fantasy Pros. Sit tight because my good friend Kyle Yates is going to take you through the next hour, and maybe you can get him to call you out and say, bro, once or twice, potentially, if you ask him a crazy question like I get here from time to time. But that's it. It's been fun. I wish you all the health, all the best. Hopefully your team stays healthy through a crazy week 6, whatever's left of it, and we'll see you again for week 7. Enjoy your football Sunday, everybody. We'll see you soon. And Chris will be